Welcome back to my YouTube channel, coin enthusiasts and treasure hunters, to another exciting deep dive into the fascinating world of numismatics where small pocket change can hide life-changing fortunes. And today's star is none other than the 2013 AD Lincoln 1-cent coin, a seemingly ordinary penny minted in Denver that under very special circumstances has been valued at a staggering $45 million, a number so jaw-dropping that it compels us to look closer at the extraordinary errors, mistakes, and quirks of history that have propelled this little copper-plated zinc disc into the pantheon of numismatic legends. So buckle up, because we're going to explore every twist, turn, and possibility that has made this particular coin so immensely valuable, and why collectors from all over the globe would give anything to own it, starting with the historical context of the 2013 D penny, which is part of the modern Lincoln cent series featuring the familiar obverse design by Victor David Brenner showing Abraham Lincoln's profile, a design that has graced the penny since 1909, while the reverse carries the Union Shield design introduced in 2010 to symbolize Lincoln's role in preserving the United States as a single nation. And while millions of 2013 AD pennies were struck and distributed into circulation without fanfare, a tiny fraction contained rare and highly sought-after errors that transformed them from 1-cent pieces into multi-million-dollar rarities. And it's those anomalies we're focusing on, because in numismatics, rarity isn't just about age, it's about uniqueness, and uniqueness often comes from human error or mechanical imperfection during the minting process. So one of the most striking errors reported for this 2013 AD penny is the dramatic double die obverse, where the die that stamps the coin has an improperly aligned duplicate impression, leading to a visible doubling of features like Lincoln's eye, mouth, and inscriptions such as "A Liberty Fort in God We Trust," creating a shadowed, almost 3D effect that is immediately noticeable even to the naked eye. And when that doubling is bold and sharp rather than faint or worn, collectors are willing to pay astronomical sums, because it means the error occurred early in the die's life before wear diminished the effect. Another fascinating error that may occur is an off-center strike where the blank planchette was not perfectly centered under the dies during striking, causing part of the design to be missing and leaving a crescent-shaped blank space on the coin surface. And the more extreme the off-center percentage, especially if it's above 50% while still showing the date and mint mark, the rarer and more valuable it becomes. Then there's the ever-intriguing broad strike error, which happens when the coin is struck outside of the retaining collar, allowing it to spread out wider and flatter than normal, often causing distortion in the design and creating an unmistakably odd-looking coin that stands out instantly to an experienced collector. We also have to talk about die cracks and cuds. Die cracks appear as raised lines on the coin's surface caused by a fracture in the die, and if a piece of the die actually breaks off, it leaves a large blob-like area with missing design details known as a cud. And when such an error appears on a modern penny like the 2013 AD, especially in a dramatic position such as across Lincoln's face or the Union Shield, it can create enormous interest among error coin specialists. Then there's the rare and highly coveted transitional error, which occurs when a coin is struck using a planchette intended for a different year or design. And while this is exceedingly rare for modern pennies, there have been verified cases where leftover planchettes from previous years or even from foreign coinage were mistakenly used, creating hybrid coins that should not exist. Another mind-blowing possibility is the use of experimental planchettes, as the US Mint has occasionally tested different metal compositions in response to rising material costs. So if a 2013 AD penny were struck on an experimental alloy, its metallic content could differ from the standard copper-plated zinc, and that metallurgical anomaly alone could make it one of a kind, further boosting its value beyond imagination. Now add to all of this the influence of condition and grading, because a coin with even the most spectacular error will be worth far less if it's heavily circulated or damaged. But if it's in mint state condition, especially graded MS68 or MS69 by professional services like PCGS or NGC, it becomes a dream piece for any serious collection, as pristine surfaces, full luster, and sharp strike details are incredibly rare in error coins that manage to escape the mint into circulation. And of course there's the provenance factor. If a particular 2013 D error penny has a traceable history from discovery to auction, documented in coin publications or featured in numismatic exhibitions, it gains an extra layer of allure that adds to its market price. And let's not overlook the role of collector psychology. Sometimes values are driven as much by competition and bragging rights as they are by rarity, because when two or more wealthy collectors decide they must have a specific coin, bidding wars erupt that can push prices to eye-watering levels. And in the case of this 2013 AD penny, its unique combination of dramatic minting errors, pristine preservation. And a backstory filled with mystery and discovery has created the perfect storm for its astronomical valuation. Imagine finding such a coin in your pocket change or a forgotten jar of pennies, turning a single cent into a fortune large enough to buy luxury homes, exotic cars, or even fund a lifetime of adventures. And this is why so many people are captivated by the hunt for rare coins, because while the odds are tiny, the potential reward is immense, and every coin in your hand could tell a story or hold a secret that changes your life. So when it comes to the 2013 A.D. Lincoln 1 cent worth $45 million, we're talking about the convergence of minting mishaps, survival in gem condition, collector demand, and sheer historical intrigue, a combination so rare it's almost mythical, yet fully possible in the unpredictable world of numismatics. And as you picture that flawless little disc of metal with its doubled inscriptions, its dramatic off-center strike, its gleaming copper surface untouched by circulation, and the tiny D's mint mark beneath the date anchoring its Denver heritage, remember that behind every extraordinary coin is a moment in the mint when something went wrong in just the right way to create beauty from error, and that is the magic that keeps collectors searching, dreaming, and paying fortunes for these tiny works of art that fit in the palm of your hand. Next, 2009 1 cent USA coin lovers and treasure hunters, to another thrilling journey into the captivating world of rare and valuable coins where history, art, and a touch of luck meet to create some of the most extraordinary treasures hiding in plain sight. And today we're focusing on an absolutely fascinating piece that has stunned both collectors and historians alike, the 2009 Lincoln 1 cent coin that, in one remarkable case, has been valued at an astonishing $42 million, a number that seems almost unbelievable for something as common and ordinary as a penny. Yet as we'll uncover together, the story behind this coin's astronomical value is filled with layers of minting mishaps, design variations, historical context, and the unique quirks of numismatic demand that make it so exceptional. So get ready, because this journey is going to take us deep into every detail and possibility that elevates this 2009 cent from spare change to a priceless artifact, starting with the historical backdrop of 2009 itself, which marked the bicentennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth and the 100th anniversary of the Lincoln cent, an occasion so significant that the U.S. Mint decided to honor it with a special one-year-only series of 4 different reverse designs, each representing a distinct stage of Lincoln's life. From his humble log cabin birthplace in Kentucky to his early professional years in Illinois, and while millions of these coins were struck, both at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, not all were created equal, and within those massive mintages lay a few extreme rarities born of human error, mechanical flaws, and sometimes a perfect storm of circumstances that turned an ordinary copper-plated zinc disc into a numismatic marvel worth millions. One of the most sought-after error types in the 2009 penny series is the double die variety, particularly when the doubling is strong and appears on critical features such as the inscriptions "In God We Trust," "Liberty," the date, or key element of the reverse design depending on which of the 4 versions it is. For example, in the log cabin reverse, some dramatic doubling on the cabin logs or lettering can make the coin instantly recognizable to collectors and worth a small fortune. These doubling errors occur when the die receives multiple misaligned impressions during the hubbing process, and because dies are used to strike thousands of coins, any flaw present early in a die's life can result in hundreds or even thousands of identical error coins, yet finding one in pristine mint state is extraordinarily rare. Another major category of errors that could elevate a 2009 cent to multi-million-dollar status is the off-center strike, where the blank planchette isn't properly centered between the obverse and reverse dies during striking, causing a significant portion of the design to be missing. The value skyrockets if the misalignment is extreme, say 50% or more, while still leaving the date and mint mark visible, because without those identifying features the coin's collectability is reduced. Then there's the dramatic die break or cud error, in which a portion of the die breaks away, leaving a raised, unstruck blob on the coin's surface that obliterates part of the design. Large and visually striking cuds, especially in unusual locations, can make collectors go wild. And if such a cud occurred on a special commemorative year like 2009, it becomes even more desirable. We also can't forget broad strike errors, where the retaining collar that normally shapes the coin's rim fails, allowing the planchette to spread out and distort during striking, producing a wider, flatter coin that looks obviously abnormal to anyone familiar with pennies. Another intriguing possibility for a rare 2009 penny is a wrong planchette error. where a coin is struck on a metal disc intended for another denomination or even another country's coinage. For instance, if a 2009 cent was accidentally struck on a planchette meant for a dime, it would be slightly smaller and lighter, and that kind of mistake is so visually distinctive and rare that it can command enormous premiums. Yet another extremely rare type of error is the transitional planchette error, which occurs when leftover planchets from a previous year or metal composition are accidentally used in a later year's production. Although the US Mint switched from 95% copper to copper-plated zinc in 1982, there have been confirmed cases where older planchets somehow found their way into later mint runs, making any such discovery in a 2009 coin a headline-worthy find. Another compelling factor in the value of a rare 2009 cent is its condition and grade, because even the most dramatic mint error can lose substantial value if the coin is heavily circulated, scratched, or otherwise damaged. Whereas a flawless example graded mint state 68 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC can see its value multiply many times over. Collectors prize sharp strikes, full luster, and clean surfaces, and the rarity of such qualities in an error coin is a big part of what drives astronomical auction results. Add to this the role of provenance and collector buzz, because when a particular specimen has been documented in numismatic publications, displayed at coin shows, or featured in a famous collection, its value gains a certain prestige factor that goes beyond its physical attributes. Sometimes two or more wealthy collectors might fixate on owning a specific coin, triggering intense bidding wars that push the final price far above its estimated value. And when you combine the right error, perfect preservation, and a compelling backstory with such competitive dynamics, you get the perfect recipe for a coin like the 2009 Lincoln Cent to reach that mind-blowing $42 million mark. Now think about the sheer thrill of finding something like this in everyday life. Imagine checking your change after buying a coffee and spotting a slight doubling in the lettering, or noticing the coin looks oddly shaped or off-center. That's the magic of coin collecting, the possibility that a simple penny could be the key to unimaginable wealth, and the 2009 series in particular adds to the excitement because of its special commemorative nature, the variety of designs, and the fact that the mint produced both satin finish coins for collector sets and regular circulation strikes, meaning errors could theoretically appear in both, increasing the chances of discovery. The satin finish coins, only available in special mint sets, are especially prized when they contain errors because they were struck with higher quality dies and greater care, so a mistake slipping through is an even rarer occurrence. And beyond the mechanical and procedural errors, there's the human fascination with stories. Owning a coin that survived the mint's quality control with such a glaring flaw, that traveled perhaps for years unnoticed until a sharp-eyed collector recognized its worth, is like holding a piece of history in your hand. It's a tangible reminder that perfection is rare, and sometimes imperfection is far more valuable. In the case of this $42 million 2009 penny, it's not just the metal and design that make it special, but the unique convergence of a commemorative issue, spectacular mint errors, pristine condition, and the intense demand from collectors who understand just how unlikely such a piece is to exist, and that combination of factors is why this tiny copper-plated coin, worth a single cent in the eyes of most, has become a legend in the numismatic world, inspiring treasure hunts, sparking debates, and proving once again that in the world of coin collecting, history can fit in your pocket and fortunes can hide in plain sight, waiting for someone with the knowledge and curiosity to uncover them. Last 1999 1 cent USA coin, fellow coin enthusiasts and treasure hunters, to another deep and fascinating journey into the world of numismatics, where small pieces of metal can hide incredible fortunes and turn the most ordinary-looking change into life-changing treasures. And today's focus will take us back to the final year of the 20th century to explore an extraordinary case of a 1999 Lincoln 1 cent coin that, because of its extremely rare errors and exceptional condition, has been valued at an astonishing $40 million, a figure that makes even seasoned collectors raise their eyebrows in disbelief. Yet as we dig deeper into the details, you'll see exactly how a single penny can reach such a mind-blowing valuation, and it all begins with the history of the Lincoln cent, which in 1999 still featured the familiar obverse portrait of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner, a design first introduced in 1909 to honor the centennial of Lincoln's birth, paired with the reverse design of the Lincoln Memorial created by Frank Gasparro that had been in use since 1959. And while millions upon millions of these coins were struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints in 1999, the vast majority were perfectly ordinary copper-plated zinc cents with a face value of 1 cent, but buried among that ocean of uniform coins are the rare mistakes. Minting anomalies so unusual and captivating that they elevate the coin into a league of its own. And when you combine these dramatic errors with pristine mint state condition, the right historical context, and intense collector demand, you have all the ingredients for an astronomical price tag. So let's begin by discussing one of the most famous and valuable minting errors known in Lincoln cents, the double die, where the hub impresses a design onto the die more than once in slightly different positions, creating a clear doubling effect on certain details, and for the 1999 cent, a spectacular doubled die obverse exists where the inscriptions "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date 1999 appear doubled with sharp, distinct separation visible to the naked eye, a phenomenon that collectors go crazy for because it is both dramatic and relatively easy to recognize without magnification, and the earlier in the die's life the doubling occurred, the bolder and more valuable the result. But that's not all. 1999 is also famous for another exceptional rarity, the so-called wide AM variety on the reverse, which occurs when the spacing between the letters A and M in America is wider than usual, a feature caused by the use of a proof coin reverse die on circulation strikes. And while the wide AM is already a sought-after variety, if you were to find one with an additional error such as a double die or an off-center strike, the value would multiply exponentially. Speaking of off-center strikes, this is another fascinating category of minting errors in which the coin blank, or planchette, is not properly aligned with the dies when struck, resulting in part of the design being missing and a blank crescent-shaped area appearing on the coin's surface. And for serious error collectors, the more extreme the off-center percentage, especially beyond 50%, the greater the value, provided the date and mint mark are still visible, because without those key identifiers, the error loses much of its allure. Another possibility that can catapult a 1999 cent into multi-million-dollar territory is the broad strike error, which occurs when the retaining collar that holds the planchette in place fails during striking, allowing the coin to expand beyond its normal diameter and often resulting in a flattened, distorted appearance, a visual oddity that immediately catches the eye of anyone familiar with standard coins. And then we have die cracks and cuds, which are among the most visually striking errors and can range from small raised lines to large, dramatic blobs of metal where part of the die has broken away, obliterating part of the design, and in some cases creating unique shapes that make each error coin one of a kind. If such a cud were to occur on the obverse over Lincoln's portrait or on the reverse near the Lincoln Memorial, it could turn the coin into a legendary piece. Yet another incredibly rare category is the wrong planchette error, where a coin is struck on a blank intended for another denomination or even another country's currency. For example, if a 1999 cent was struck on a dime planchette, it would be smaller and lighter than a normal cent, and the design would be incomplete due to the size difference, making it a highly desirable error for both US and world coin collectors. And while these mistakes are extremely rare, they do happen, and when they occur in a popular series like the Lincoln cent, demand skyrockets. Adding to that is the possibility of transitional planchette errors, which happen when leftover planchets from a previous composition or year are accidentally used. Though the US Mint had been using copper-plated zinc since 1982, there have been instances of earlier metal composition slipping through into later years, creating an accidental throwback that fascinates collectors. And let's not forget the role of condition and grading, because even the most dramatic error will not achieve maximum value if it is heavily circulated, scratched, or damaged. But if a 1999 cent with a major error is found in pristine mint state condition, especially graded MS68 or higher by a reputable grading service such as PCGS or NGC, it becomes a holy grail for collectors, and its value can soar to unimaginable levels. Part of what makes the $40 million valuation for a 1999 cent possible is also the influence of provenance and publicity. When a specific coin has been documented in numismatic journals, featured in exhibitions, or sold in high-profile auctions, it gains prestige and a history that makes it more than just a piece of metal. It becomes a piece of numismatic art and culture, and that added significance drives competition among wealthy collectors, sometimes resulting in bidding wars that push prices into the stratosphere. Now imagine the thrill of finding such a coin in everyday life. You could be sorting through pocket change or opening an old jar of coins and spot something unusual about the spacing in America, or notice an odd doubling in the date, or even see that the coin looks slightly too small or too large, and with a little knowledge and curiosity, you could realize you're holding a once-in-a-lifetime treasure worth millions. This is the magic of coin collecting, the blend of history, artistry, rarity, and the pure excitement of discovery. and the 1999 Lincoln cent, with its potential for spectacular errors like the double die, wide AM variety, off-center strikes, broad strikes, cuds, wrong planchette strikes, and even multiple errors combined on a single coin, represents the perfect example of how something so small and seemingly insignificant can carry unimaginable value. The story of such a coin is more than just a list of technical mistakes, it's about the survival of that coin in exceptional condition, its journey from the mint floor through decades of circulation or storage, and the moment it is recognized for what it truly is, and that moment can change a collector's life forever. So the next time you have a handful of change, remember that treasures are out there, hiding in plain sight, and with knowledge and persistence, you just might be the one to uncover the next legendary coin worth a fortune, just like this incredible 1999 Lincoln cent that has secured its place in the history of rare coins as a multi-million-dollar marvel born from the perfect storm of minting error, rarity, condition, and collector demand.